Mr. Miessau, just give us 1 second. Just remain quiet, okay?
No problem, thank you.
We are back on the record for inmate William Clingensmith, inmate number 429253.
So just for clarification purposes, for inmate Clingensmith 429253, the conditions imposed for discretionary parole will carry over to his 7.5-year special parole term.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Pro Officer Dunphy. Today is Monday, January 13th, 2025, and this is a hearing of the Connecticut Board of Pardons and Paroles. The following board members are present this morning and by stating their names on the record, certify they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available pertinent information in preparation of this hearing.
Good morning, Deborah Smith Palmieri.
I'm Ellen Zappo Sasser.
Nancy Turner, good morning.
Also present is the victim of the Office of Victim Services. Please state your name and inmate number for the record.
Joseph Miessau, 255-635.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the full application for Joseph Miessau, inmate number 255-635. He is serving a sentence of 2 years, 1 day, followed by 2 years special parole for assault second. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of May 2nd, 2025. There is victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed the domestic violence program on September 17, 2024. He is also currently participating in the Tier 4 program with an estimated completion date of July 17, 2025. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within a very high range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Miessau, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
First of all, good morning. Since I've been in prison, I haven't sat stagnant at all. Since I've been inside the county jail, I've worked because they didn't provide any AA or NA because of the COVID situation. Since then, I've been transferred here. Since I've been transferred here, I've immediately inquired upon my domestic violence class, which I have participated in and successfully completed since I've been here. I've also took a volunteer position here to check myself into the Tier 4 program, which I am a participant as of right now. I'm still in phase 1. I also participate in NA and AA meetings. Upon my discharge, I do have a plan. I have a job lined up for myself. I also would like to enroll myself in the self-supporting systems with the AA and NA system. I'm going to utilize that. I would like to be integrated with my children. I realized, and I took the time to, get myself together and think about what is actually important to me. I took the time to realize that my actions, whether direct or indirect, had something to immediately do with this case, and I don't want to come to prison anymore. I am tired of this. I realized that I needed to grow up, and nothing changed if nothing changed. So I decided to take this time to change my thought process, my thinking, to find the real meaning of integrity, to doing the right thing even when nobody else is looking. It's time to grow up and to leave this childish stuff behind me. I'm very nervous. I'm sorry. I've never had one of these meetings before, so please forgive me. I realize that my past is very ugly, and I can't let my past to define myself today, because when I do, I hold myself down, and I hold myself thinking that nobody is going to give me a chance and nobody is going to look at me the same. So I just hold myself to this low standard. And since I've been here, I decided that, I can't do that anymore. I need to look at myself in a higher light. I need to hold myself to a higher standard. And that's what I've been doing since I've been here.
Thank you, Mr. Miessau. We appreciate you providing us with some information about what you've been doing and your thinking over the last 2 years that you've been incarcerated now. We will ask you some questions. Following our questioning, the Office of Victim Services will read a statement, and then we will deliberate and give you our decision.
Okay, thank you.
Mid-panel member Turner will begin with questions this morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So since you haven't been here before, I'm just going to explain to you that what we're doing today is trying to make a determination about whether it's appropriate for you to finish the 2 years and 1 day that you have to serve at 50%, or I'm sorry, 85%, out in the community on discretionary parole supervision before you begin your 2 years of special parole. And we have to make that decision in light of the interests of public safety. So, the facts that we have are that you score up very high for your risk to reoffend, and that you've been given 9 opportunities at community release in the past, and you haven't been successful even once. And in your criminal history goes back to 1997, and it really does run the gamut of crimes. But the more recent ones look to be domestic violence in nature. So I'm glad that you took that program. I'm pleased to see that you got an excellent evaluation on all the categories that are scored. And so your eligibility date at 85% is in May. And your end of sentence, as you earn time off, will probably be at the end of June. So I want you to keep in mind that we're talking about a 2-month period before you begin special parole. Can you tell me, Mr. Miessau, when's the last time you participated in a drug treatment program out in the community?
Out in the community, I've participated in, it was a JRI bed in Lebanon Pines in 2016, which I successfully completed that.
Okay. Have you, you have a DOC drug score of 4, 5 being the highest possible. And I'm glad that you have the 4 because it got you into your 4.
Yes.
And you say you're in phase 1.
Yeah.
How's it going so far?
Oh, it's been actually really good. I'm taking, inventories of myself. I'm thinking a lot clearly now. I know what my triggers are, and I've been working on how to prevent those and thinking of coping skills and learning coping skills so I don't go back into that anymore.
I think that's great. So what are your triggers?
My father was a violent man, and, I think that the violence kind of triggers me, being yelled at, being sometimes the fact that I find myself in positions as of like homelessness or, getting turned down a lot. It kind of brings me back to like using. I feel like nobody would actually like give me a chance, and I realize that that's not always the case. If I hold myself down and I think negatively, usually negative things would happen to you. It's about what you put out into the universe, which is going to come back to you. And I believe that strongly.
I'm hearing some trauma.
Yes.
I hope you'll work on addressing that so you can resolve it.
Yes.
So do you feel like the experiences that you grew up around impacted your self-esteem?
Yes.
I heard that when you talked about the rejection. You mentioned that word, and that kind of goes hand in hand. The rejection reinforces your low sense of yourself, and that keeps you from doing good, being with positive people and turning things around. You referred to NA and AA as a system. I hadn't heard that before. It's a program. Have you ever participated in that out in the community?
I thought I can do it by myself prior to this, and it creates structure that I think that I very well need in my life, and a support system that I would need, in my life. And I think that pursuing that, even upon even discharge, would be a very, very good avenue for me to travel on. So I'm going to continue that when I get out.
You thinking you're, and I'm glad to hear that, you thinking you're dealing with your addiction issues by yourself, is that more about ego or more about low self-esteem that you don't think other people would be there for you?
I think it was a part of me feeling ashamed of, who I was and the background where I came from, and me being able to express that to people and being able to talk to people about that. I felt like people were shutting down upon me and stuff. But, during this program time now, I realized that, being open and honest and reaching out for, help when I need it is not a bad thing. It's something that I needed to really learn about myself.
Yeah, because addiction thrives in isolation and denial.
Yes. Addiction definitely thrives in isolation and denial, yes.
And you're worthy of a recovery community. Nobody needs to do this on their own. That's why these networks of people living in recovery exist. You don't have to go it alone. So why don't you share with me what you got out of the domestic violence program that's going to help you?
Well, I've also not only learned that, first of all, it's wrong. Second of all, I've learned all sorts of different types of abuse besides just physical. There's mental and like financial abuse and other avenues of abuse and stuff. And what actually, would be a good way of diverting from, say, getting into an argument, or take a walk, or, take the time out to think before I act instead of just acting on impulse. And, meditations and stuff like that have helped me get it centered with myself and stuff, and how to, control my actions and my reactions and things. So that is very important when it comes to that. And, especially the type of people that I involve myself in, and especially being in addiction and stuff like that, feeling like I needed to be say codependent, and instead of being that way, and feeling that way and stuff, because that can cause a lot of issues in a relationship. If person don't want to let one person leave, or say, for instance, an argument's ensued, somebody wants to go hang out with somebody that I feel like shouldn't be approved of. It's not about that. It's about, letting people live their life and having their joy in their lives, regardless of what, I can't be controlling. I can only control my own actions, and
have you been controlling in relationships in the past?
Yes. I think that it was definitely something that I've tried to do, and realized now that, I can only control my own actions. There's no one, else that I can control their actions or how their feelings or anything. And I can't force anybody to be accepting or loving if they're not, and I have separation issues and stuff like that, because, not for nothing, I can't blame it on anybody else but myself. But, my father being in and out of my life, being abusive, me, and people coming in and leaving and stuff like that. So I have this separation issue, where I don't like when people are going to just leave or something. So I try to do what I can to get them to stay and stuff like that. And that's part of being controlling, which is not good.
Yeah. Pulling out all the tricks in the bag, from, being loving to being insulted, right? you were working with tremendous insight. And that's going to be so key to you doing things differently in your life going forward. When I hear you talk about insecurity, separation, I hear insecurity, that fear of being abandoned. And that is often at the root of abusive behaviors in a relationship. And then you end up with a hostage situation because the person's with you not because they want to be with you, but because it's scarier to try to leave you.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is.
This assault second, do you admit that you were physically harming this person?
I definitely admit that there are times in our relationship that things did get either physical or argumentative, very much so. And, you know, I realized that whether directly or indirectly, the result of this action is my own, and I own up to that. And I definitely been taking a very, very reflective look at myself and my actions and in participation with this. And I'm very disappointed in myself for acting that way. And I feel very much remorseful because I really, really did love that person. And I can't, say that I don't, it was very hard for me to, swallow this pill, as per se, and to look at it and not just my standpoint of view, but from hers. And, this is why I accepted what was given to me. And I took it on the chin, and I realized that, standing up and taking responsibility for any action that I've done is going to be very important from this point forward.
Yeah, it's critical to the change. You got to own it, and you got to examine it. But ultimately, you'll need to forgive yourself so that you can move on. Don't use it as an excuse to continue to be down on yourself. You have some real strong insights that you're working with that help you understand why you were doing what you were doing at the time, between the emotional stuff and the substance abuse. So I'm really happy that you're in the Tier 4 program. I hope you will give it your all. It covers so many aspects of other programming that DOC offers. It really is the premier program. And for that reason, and that reason alone, I will be voting for you to go out early to discretionary parole, because I want to see you finish Tier 4. You'll almost finish it when you become end of sentence and go out to special parole. And I think it's exactly what you need, and I wish you much success, sir. Thank you for talking with me. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
So one of my questions is your unstable work history. How much of that do you attribute to the drugs and alcohol issue?
Actually, a lot. During my addiction, I would work and then be out of work and stuff like that. And because sometimes I would wake up hungover or something like that and wouldn't make it to work, or make some excuse with the boss that I don't feel well, or, so this is why it's very important that I work on my, my alcoholism and stuff like that. It has to stop. I have a person out there who kind of adopted me into his family and stuff, and he just wanted nothing but the best for me. And he helps me out every time, whether it be with work on the side or running his store and stuff like that. And he just wants me, like I want myself, obviously, to be productive and be good and stay out of trouble and do the right thing. And so I'm doing this mainly for me, but also for, you know, him and other people and that I've heard and stuff like that too, because I want them to show them too that my past doesn't define me, who I am. I am a better person than that. And, you know, I know that, and I start to see that in myself now. And I'm going to hold to that, you know, because I am a lot better than what is put down on paper, what people see me as, you know.
So I found it encouraging that there are references, and you mentioned a couple of them earlier, where you had sought help. We do have a lot of reports, so we don't have to go into medical histories or summaries. So we understand what some of the challenges have been. And you've referenced in some of your earlier comments that you're going to continue to pursue treatment when you're back in the community. And I just wanted to put that on the record, that I think that that's a very important component of moving forward for you.
Yes.
Thank you. I do not have additional questions as well. So we will now hear from the Office of Victim Services, Ms. Hamlet Williams.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, panel. I do have a statement from the victim, and it reads, "To whom it may concern, I'm the victim of Joseph Miessau. He changed my life around, and I can no longer work. I got approved for disability about 4 months ago. I have to have someone take care of me. I can never live alone again. I'm always living in constant fear that he will hurt me again. He took so much from me that I can't get back. I have to walk with an assist, my foot cut up. I'm 33 years old, and I have to ask for help with daily life and living, with the things that I used to do on my own. My family is scared too. They don't trust him. He can't be trusted out in the community. He will just do this to the next woman he comes across. I have to see so many doctors every week because of him. I have PT and OT every week. I don't live a normal life like everyone else. I have to wait for help to arrive. I'm scared for when he comes out into the community. I just want to feel safe. My life will never be the same again. He took that. He has no remorse for what he does. He just keeps doing it. I stay in my house. I'm so scared to leave that all of my programs have to come to me. This has messed me up so bad, mentally, physically, emotionally, that I'm afraid I'm going to end up in the mental institution. He can't touch me in there. The fear is the worst feeling. I'm living in that every day for what he did. Thanks for listening. Victim.
Thank you for that. Great. We will now deliberate about the case. Ms. Charter.
That's quite a powerful statement from the victim. Pretty strong description of the impact on her life, and we definitely appreciate her wanting her voice to be heard in this process. So as I laid out before, Mr. Miessau's score is very high. He's never been successful in community supervision, and I think that's what got him the period of special parole as part of this sentence. I'm hearing more acceptance from him than when he was interviewed by the parole officer, especially given the fact that there were several witnesses who saw the assault when it happened. I think the best news possible is that he's currently in the Tier 4 program, and given that his last engagement in treatment was nearly 10 years ago, I think it's critical that he continue on in the Tier 4 program, develop a solid relapse prevention plan, find ways to connect with the recovery community, CCAR and AA and NA when he does go out to special parole. So we're talking, as I said earlier, about a 2-month difference between his 85 and his end of sentence. And I think it's best spent in a facility in Tier 4 program. So my job is to do.
Example, yeah, I agree as well. You know, there's a long criminal history that includes a lot of violent offenses. He does score very high for risk to recidivate. Although I do agree, as Ms. Turner was asking her questions, there is some elements of offender change, some recognition of what he needs to change in order to live successfully in the community and have better relationships. I think that, as I said, Tier 4 program is, well, I think it's really monumental in terms of success in the community. It'd be so important for him to have that going out because he has such little support. And he has not done well on community supervision. So I am also a denial for today. And then we also need to set special parole conditions. So
Madam Chair, I just want to add, in the event that the victim is listening to this, that, you know, the sentence of special parole does provide a higher level of accountability and oversight when he is back in the community. And the parole officer will be aware of his history, this incident, and the victim's concerns. So hopefully that will be of help in the healing process.
yeah, alleviate some of the fears. And have someone to reach out to. And well, let's start with reasons for denial.
Criminal history, nature and circumstance. And
Injury impact to the victim.
yeah.
Anything else?
I would choose toward inadequate program completion as opposed to participation, if you're agreeable to that.
I am agreeable to that. And then we also, as we said earlier, need to set special parole conditions. No alcohol, halfway house, community-based treatment for domestic violence, no contact with TK. He's on the fence about this.
I actually did have a mental health evaluation and treatment.
Anything else that you think would be helpful for his success?
To the ones I have.
Okay. Sally, Sassy, anything further? So in the matter of Joseph Miessau, 255635 is motion to deny parole for the following reasons: nature and circumstance of the current offense, criminal history, injury and impact to the victim, and inadequate institutional program completion. We further move to set the following special parole stipulations: no alcohol, halfway house placement as needed, mental health evaluation and treatment as deemed necessary, community-based treatment for domestic violence, and no contact with the victim TK. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? Okay. All right, Mr. Miessau, you understood all that was just said?
So upon my discharge from the jail, I'm going to a halfway house, but it's not like a reach bed or something like that. What is the difference?
Well, we stipulate to a halfway house as needed. If something, other arrangements can be made between now and your release date, you can work that out with parole or the counselor there. But we don't want you to come out with nothing,
Thank you.
right? So a halfway house is important, okay? And it is 2 months from your parole date to your end sentence date. So really, I think, as Ms. Turner has mentioned, you know, completing the Tier 4 program, especially since you haven't done the program since 2016, I think will connect you with good resources. I think we all think that. Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
This concludes the hearing for Joseph Miessau, inmate number 255635. You're all set, Mr. Miessau.
Thank you.
I'm not sure, but I believe this might be the last hearing, but we'll find out right now. I only saw 3 names today on the hearing for Connecticut. I also checked the one for Utah. Utah only had 2 names on there. I checked it at 7. Normally they start sharp at 7, but nothing came on. So I'm not sure if they're starting late or if they were even going to take place. Anyhow, if this is
The
the last,
time is now 11:07, and the hearing for January 13th, 2025 is come to an end. Thank you.
all right. So right now today, since there isn't any board hearings, I'm actually running. I'm doing a court hearings from Baxter County, which would be Judge Boyd. I'm not sure if any of you guys are familiar with her, but she's pretty popular on YouTube and TikTok and whatnot. Anyhow, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this stream, and it'll pop up the court hearings, if you will. Like I said around here, life's like a candle. Once you blow it out, it's lights out. And with that, we are out of here.